We have discussed today the role that telecom plays in society. It's obviously an important role, and it's an increasing role. When we think, let me just reflect a little bit on the crisis here and take it in perspective. 10 years ago, that was the time basically when the bubble bursted, the IT bubble bursted. And it did so because I think we had a lot of, in the industry we had visions and dreams, but there were more dreams than actions and real ideas. I don't think we had clearly understood yet what the consumer wanted. We hadn't clearly understood what the technology what we would require from technology networks, what we would require from services and offerings for the consumer. That time it was really the operators were in deep debt, and the networks had a lot of capacity and the traffic wasn't very strongly growing. Today, when we look back at 2008, it was a pretty remarkable year. We passed a milestone of 4 billion subscriptions in the world, an incredible number. That number was 500-600 million in 2003 after the crisis. An incredible breakthrough where we are reaching all over the world into the poorest of areas. But it was also a mobile broadband breakthrough where we get internet, mobile. It happened, people are wanting it. It was a doubling of mobile broadband users in Europe. All of what we were dreaming about in the 90s is actually happening right now. And Rob mentioned about the 10% mobile penetration drives 0.6% of acceleration of GDP growth. That's a great example. There's another recent study for the US House of Representatives that suggests that every dollar spent in broadband has a tenfold payback for society. And in this way, I think it's very important that we understand, when we look at this crisis, the importance of looking at broadband as part of infrastructure. It's not just about highways and airports and railroads. Today's and tomorrow's highways are broadband. And here we see a very clear agenda from US, we see a clear agenda from China, but we do not have the similar clear agenda here in Europe. And I think it comes natural because we are fragmented with so many countries, so it's maybe not so easy to align everybody, but it's extremely important. And when it comes to are we affected? Well, I would say if we look at Ericsson, we are hardly affected at all. We have not seen a slowdown in investments in mobile infrastructure. Of course, we all read about the operators reporting about on the fixed side with terminations for bankruptcy companies, and this time people rather abandon their fixed line privately and keep the mobile phone rather than vice versa. There is an important development now with LTE. This is the first time that the world has one united global standard that we're working with. That is a tremendous payoff in what is being done in research and development and creating ecosystems, and I think we're very grateful for that. That doesn't mean that will take away the present HSPA as an example. That will. In Ericsson, we had peak deliveries last year of GSM, that was introduced in 91. I think we will probably have peak deliveries in HSPA 8-10 years from now, so we will have parallel technologies living there. Finally, I would like to say something about the 700 megahertz spectrum or the importance of the digital dividend. With much more efficient technologies now, broadcasting, TV broadcasting, media broadcasting can be done. It can be done much more efficiently, and therefore spectrum that is such a scarce resource can be freed up. And the 700-800 megahertz band are so cost efficient, and they mean a lot when it's about reaching more people around the world. And again, as it was mentioned also, that we need to harmonize that because we want to be able to travel around the world with the same phone. We had the problems before, we don't want that again. But spectrum issues are important, and freeing up the band is important.